Welcome back to From Ideas to Income. Hey, Becky.
Hi,
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Are you drunk? You sound drunk.
You can't put that in there. You have to start over now.
Nope, keep it in there.
No.
Anyway.
You have to start over.
No.
Okay. You can't ask me if I'm drunk. I'm not drunk. I'm just happy.
You sound drunk.
I'm not drunk.
Well, it's all. I'm keeping all this in. I'm not starting again. All right. So today we have an incredibly inspiring conversation for you. We sat down with Kenzie, right?
Kenzie Miller.
Kenzie Miller. She is the owner of a company called Foxtrot Artistry. And what you'll hear is the journey of her acrylic on canvas, creating wildlife art, and which is often inspired by National Geographic and just the beautiful mountains of Utah. She lives in Utah, and so just anything that's outdoorsy and wildlife inspires her to make art. Kenzie's story is a beautiful blend, I would say, of passion and purpose. She, in the interview, shares how she transformed her art into a business that actively contributes to the wildlife conservation, donating money to it. It's a story that blends an artist's vision with environmental commitment and entrepreneur spirit. And so that's kind of the precursor to the interview. Do you have anything to add to that? Or
Yes, her passion. I go back to the passion and the love that she has for things. Because you could, like in our past interviews that we've done, I think all of them, you can hear their passion in their voice.
That's why I picked these specific entrepreneurs, because this is where the passion is.
And you can hear the love that they have. Like, it doesn't matter who we've interviewed, from electric to cleaning to hearing, everyone loves their passion.
Mm-hmm.
And how the last one that we did, her passion was spells and learning about people and how people were drawn to her. It was all, it's passion. It's in their voice. You can hear it in Kenzie's voice, her passion for animals.
It makes me excited that you're finally like coming around to why I'm doing this at all. Like this is what you're feeling right now is what the whole reason I'm doing this thing.
I just thought you were crazy.
And now all of a sudden you're like, hey, you know what I like about this? I'm like, yeah, all those things. That's the whole reason I'm doing this.
I just thought you were crazy and that you like to talk to people.
I do like to talk to people. But I love this like entrepreneur spirit. This is why I pick these specific kind of people that have this passion. Well, anyway, without further ado, let's go into the interview. Yeah?
Yeah, let's go.
All right.
I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as we did.
You're supposed to say it like you normally do.
Let's go!
There you go. All right. Talk to you after the interview.
Okay.
Hi there, Kenzie.
Hi.
Thanks so much for taking your time out to talk to me and be on our podcast. The podcast is called From Ideas to Income.
Of course.
I'm really excited to hear your story. The whole mission of this podcast is to talk to people that have started something and just kind of see that kind of exciting beginnings and walk through that first couple year journey. In your case, it would be a few years, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of my audience just likes to hear that, like, how did things get started? How did things grow? And so to kick things off, if you could introduce yourself to my audience, just say a little bit about yourself and then like give your elevator speech of what your company is and what it does.
Okay. So my name is Kenzie Miller, and I started Foxtrot Artistry a few years ago. At first it was called Go With Art, and which was spelt G-O-G-H, like Van Gogh, because he was like a huge inspiration for me. Later on, I think it was the beginning of this year or last year, that I changed it to Foxtrot Artistry, because I found more about, I'm finding my way back to myself in a sense. And so yeah, Fox is especially in my childhood, were a big thing.
Foxes like the animal? Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yeah, they were everywhere when I was growing up in Colorado.
What part of Colorado?
Highlands Ranch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Been out there, yeah.
Yeah, and our house at the time backed this huge field, and there were horses back there, and so yeah, foxes would just hop in our backyard, and I'd follow them around and see where they were going and stuff. But yeah, so that's how it became Foxtrot and then artistry. And so I mostly focus on wildlife artwork because growing up I would always watch wildlife documentaries and Animal Planet and Nat Geo and just all the things like that, and had a ton of field guides.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then I'd take my own field notes, and so I still have a few, they're, drawings that aren't that great, but they're of, like tracks and things of different animals. But so anyway, with my artwork, I donate 10% of all proceeds and stuff to wildlife conservations.
Wow, that's nice. Especially if you're at a place where you can do that.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
How long did it take to get to that point?
I just made it a goal to do that right from the start, so it wasn't an extra thing that I had to add on later. And
So you're just a kind heart.
yeah, I try.
That's so nice.
Thank you.
So let's jump into what's the specific moment? What were you doing? Who were you hanging out with? What was the specific moment where you're like, I need to make a company. I got to get this thing rolling. How'd that spark start?
So it kind of started it was like a year and a half after my mom and I moved to Utah. And I just started doing art, and because it was a really good outlet for me and just healing from past things. And she started to teach me how to do art when I was 7. And I'd go with her on mural jobs and everything when I was like that young, and I was on a 20-foot ladder and painting rocks and everything. And then I kind of fell away from that for a while, and just from depression and everything. But moving out here, I was able to start doing that again, and then it kind of just flowed into it.
And to define art, it's painting on canvas. Is it oil, or is it what kind of art do you do?
Mostly acrylic on canvas, and then I also do pencil sketches and digital artwork on my sketchbook app. Okay. Not AI, but just I have the stylus and everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you use AI at all? Are you against the AI in the art world?
Against it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what was your aha moment when you're like, wait a minute, this thing actually can work? I started doing some stuff, and then all of a sudden, I think I can make some money doing this.
So, I think my aha moment was just seeing inspiration and other creators that were already in that world. And 2 of my wildlife artist friends, they are just killing it. They're doing wildlife artwork, going to markets, I think they're mostly full-time doing their artwork.
Wow.
And so they've always just been an inspiration for me, and I was like, maybe I can do that too. And so I started to press more into it and market it more, and I built a website, and yeah.
And I'll have your website in the description and whatnot, so that way I can promote it. And at the end, we'll do a promotion as well. Once that initial idea took place, what steps did you take to validate that there was a market for this?
I mostly looked around on Etsy and my friends' websites and kind of saw what their price point was and what they were selling for and what people were buying them for and everything, so I could kind of just base my prices off of that, which it really helped seeing visually what the market was for that and what was selling, what kind of wildlife artwork was selling, whether it was full landscape or the animals themselves on a blank background. So I do have a couple pieces of artwork that have like not a blank background, but just like simple, like there's not a full landscape behind them, just because I wanted to play around with it. But yeah, with me, I like doing the full detail.
Nice.
And so most of my work has their natural habitat behind them.
That's really nice. Who is your big inspiration as you're doing your art?
I think honestly just National Geographic, and
You see wildlife and you're like, this is art.
yeah,
I need to put this on canvas.
and there's a few times in documentaries when I'm just like, oh my gosh, I need to paint that. And the way that the lighting is, the textures, the contrast between some of the animals and the landscapes and just everything.
I bet with these mountains in Utah, every morning is like, where's my canvas?
Yeah, exactly. And especially with the morning light coming through the trees, I love that. The mountains here are so much better than Colorado because it's only like a 5 or 10 minute drive into the canyon.
Right.
And that's it. And in Colorado, you had to drive like a few hours to get into like the canyon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's been so many times I'm driving somewhere and I look around and I go, I can't believe this is real life.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so nice. Especially if you drive up Springville on the back roads and it has that huge mountain to the right. It's just gorgeous.
Yeah.
So
and
I
like the
totally get it.
alpenglow when the mountains turn purple at the sunset. In love with that.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
If you could describe your targeted audience, who are you selling your art to? Who would that be? Who are you looking to sell to?
I think anybody who's either passionate about wildlife or naturalists, and people who either want to start inviting more of the natural beauty into their home, to become connected to it again, or like people who already love that and just want more of that in their life. And because like nature in and of itself is calming. Just getting out into nature and hearing the sounds, hearing the birds, it calms the soul on like a vibrational level. And I think just seeing that helps people.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is why Bob Ross had such a market, right?
Yeah.
Like everybody loves that kind of just the peace of putting the paint on the canvas, and just it's magical. You have nothing but white, and now you have this beautiful landscape.
Yeah, I love, especially with landscapes. I've tried to do buildings here and there, and it's just they're a lot more difficult to do than landscapes. Landscapes, you don't have to. There's no set way of doing it. You can make a mountain look however you want. Right. And yeah, same with trees and rivers, and you can make it go any way. And
yeah, very Buddhist almost, right?
Yeah.
The water moves no matter what's in the way, right?
Yeah.
Now, location's everything, right? I don't know if you have a physical location that you're doing this, but it does sound like you have a website. Mm-hmm. What kind of platforms are you on? Which platforms have been working well for you? What was your there's a couple questions on this, but I'll start just in brief. What platforms are you currently on?
So currently I'm on Instagram mostly, and I have that connected to my Facebook. Reach-wise, I almost want to say that Instagram is better than Facebook.
Okay.
Because I feel like Facebook is mostly like friends and friends of friends, and Instagram you can reach people that you don't even know. And
maybe I should put my podcast on there.
Do it. But yeah, so Instagram, Facebook, and I just started a Substack, and I have loved that so far.
Really?
And reach is still getting there, but it's just nice because it's a place where I can just put different things on there that I wouldn't normally put on my Instagram. And so I have a newsletter on there where it's like just my journals, where I can post about the journal entries and try and help inspire people to get their own journals. And I have a newsletter for my trail cam recordings, and which is just, it's fun to see the wildlife in the area and see what they're doing. And then I have one for my stories just from my past and everything, and how I'm finding my way back to myself.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah, and just, yeah, it's nice having a platform to just write, where it's not, you don't have to make a trendy reel or post or anything. Like, you can just write about whatever you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice to be able to get that out.
Yeah.
And whatever links you're willing to share with us, I'll put in the description so that way everybody can check it out and see all your pictures. Because I'm like kind of thirsty to see your paintings now at this point. I'm like, man, I could see, scrolling some of your pictures across the screen at this point, but I want to check them out.
Definitely.
So what was the first platform that you started with?
Instagram.
Instagram was your first one, and that seemed to be okay, but then you moved on to the other ones, and you're seeing, it seems like you're still playing with it a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Instagram, I've been on the longest, and the Substack I just started back in March, and
you've seen success on that one, right?
Yeah, there's some blogs that I follow have, I think it's like 32,000 followers, and I'm just like, what?
A lot of people looking at your stuff.
Yeah. And I found Substack through a reel on Instagram where this girl registered her land as a certified wildlife habitat through the National Fish and Wildlife Service. And I was like, I want to do that. And
Inspiration comes from anywhere, right?
Yeah. I would love to have plots of land that are for wildlife specifically. That's one of my long-term goals.
Just like a refuge for like animals and whatnot.
Yeah. And
you probably do that in Utah. I mean, there's a ton of land here.
Right? Yeah, I've been looking. I'm just like, okay.
Maybe you make a petting zoo, have people come check out your animals. So in the early days, how did you get word out about your business? Like, how did you, what was the most effective marketing strategies you started, and how has that kind of evolved as time went over? Time went on.
Mostly, I made a post about my art page that I had just started at the time on my personal page, and then like friends and family followed, and then after that it was word of mouth through just people that we would meet, and some people would start talking about businesses that they were just opening up and how they needed a mural, and so my mom and I did a mural and for this new business, and it was awesome. Yeah, so just word of mouth after that, and then doing some, trying to do like trendy reels and try and get out there, and yeah.
Has there been any market campaigns that were surprisingly successful?
I haven't done any market campaigns yet. I have been to a few vendor markets.
Okay.
And most of those have been at the Tracy Aviary in Salt Lake.
Okay.
And they did their Eco Arts Fest a few times, and just recently I went to their Urban Bird Festival for World Bird Migratory Day.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, Migratory Day. They have all day for that.
Yeah. But it helps raise awareness for migrating birds, and at night, like, it's best to turn off as many lights as you can so they don't go off course of where they're supposed to go while they're migrating.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah. And there's like bird safe glass that you can get for your home or anywhere. But yeah, so it's like raising awareness for that. And there are a few other vendors at the festival too. But I had that's the day that I launched my birding journal, because I thought it was the perfect time for that.
Yeah, it sounds great.
Yeah.
So building a brand is super important, right? How did you build your brand identity? How is it evolving as you've learned more things as the company started moving forward?
So the brand part is still tricky, but vibe-wise, I wanted my color palette for marketing and banners and my logo and everything to be kind of like natural tones, more themed to fall.
Oh,
And
because that's almost everybody's favorite season.
I love fall so much.
So do I. It's so nice.
Right. And like the colors are just amazing. But then for like an accent color, I wanted it to be kind of like the beginning of fall where there's still hints of green. And so I don't know, it's just, I think brand wise, when you're coming up with fonts, colors, logo, stuff like that, you just have to go with what speaks to you more and like what you feel is right for you, like who you would be through that, since you're the main person of your company.
Right.
And so fonts, I forgot what the font is called that I use mostly.
But now when I look at your logo, I'm maybe thinking about fall.
Yeah.
And the beginnings of fall, the end of summer, it's starting to cool down.
Yeah,
Things
and like
that.
there's like a fox that I drew, and
Oh, is it like an Easter egg in there, or?
no, it's like the fox is the main thing, and then there's like little fall foliage at the bottom, and then a picture of the moon that I took through my telescope as the background of it.
Oh, wow.
And so it's still that circular logo shape.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. What was the biggest hurdles that you've had to face starting this company? Like, what are some of the things that you weren't expecting, but you had to get over it, and now you've learned from it, and how did that kind of help you become the person you are?
I think mostly like all of the paperwork that goes into having a business. And because I just recently got my LLC, so I'm like all official and everything. I got it last fall. But yeah, there's just so much more paperwork that I didn't expect. And it's funny because like along with that paperwork, since I registered it as an LLC, and I mean, I don't have like a physical location yet. I have local stores that I sell through, but not my own place. And so I just put my home address as the LLC address. And so I've gotten a few things in the mail where it's like, you need to, put up I forgot what it was called, but it was like a thing for employees to see, like a workman's comp kind of thing.
Yeah, like the posters that you see in break rooms.
And I'm like, it's just me, myself, and I in this.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm like, I don't think I have to put that up. I don't think anybody's going to check.
No.
Because it's just like a home address and it's just me. And so.
And a lot of those, coming from a corporate life, a lot of those companies, they're just selling the posters. And so they'll say anything to get you to buy it, but there's nothing that you have to do when it comes to that stuff.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've just put them on in my little like filing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, just in case, but I don't think I'll need it.
So you can.
Yeah.
Oh no, I hurt my finger. What's my workman's comp for me? Right?
Yeah, exactly.
What was the most unexpected challenge that you encountered while running your business? Was there a moment that you thought, wow, I never saw that coming?
I don't think so. But I just, when something comes up, I'm just like, oh, okay.
I guess I got to learn something new.
Yeah. I don't think there's been anything that's like, oh man,
Yeah.
And because feel like I'm very go with the flow.
Yeah. You're an artist.
Yeah.
That's
And I'm
what you do.
just take things as they come.
Right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you just have to do that, right?
Yeah.
So how's the local community shaped your business journey? I'm interested in specific examples of where the community has supported you, or vice versa. Is there a particular local event or initiative where you directly help somebody using your art, or is there something that, as the culture here has changed, has that affected your art? Just as the community is changing, the local community, is that changing your art? How are you navigating those waters?
It's not changing my art, but the community has helped a lot especially with one of the local stores that I'm in, and like it helps get my art out there and be seen, and in turn I think it makes people happy with like having more of the natural world, whichever space that they end up putting a print in or like a sticker. And because I feel like it makes the natural world more accessible, and so I think that helps people in a way, like especially with some of the art that I do where it's like in another country. There's paintings of cheetahs that I've done and lions and more kind of exotic animals that people don't get to witness or see a lot.
Yeah, that makes sense. Does your art just mainly stay on canvas? Do you do prints on other things like bookmarks or like banners or anything like that? If somebody were to purchase your art, could they get it in a different format?
Yeah, so on my website I've linked it to Printify, and so people can get it on t-shirts and hoodies and candles, like the candle wrapper thing.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And phone cases and just different accessories and everything.
Anywhere that has a surface, you can put your art on it.
Pretty
That's
much.
Great.
As long as it's eco-friendly, because through Printify, I only put my art on things that are eco-friendly or recycled or things like that, because that goes with my mission more than just putting it on something that's going to harm the environment.
Interesting. Do you have a mission statement? Like an official one?
Yeah, like my thing that I promote the most is like protecting wildlife starts with us.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about the positive impact your business has. What's your favorite customer success story?
Well, one of my favorite things is that it wasn't something that went wrong, but it was something that I was able to do with my artwork in order to help. And that was last October when the Cheetah Conservation Fund based in Namibia was having an online fundraising auction. And so I was able to create a piece of artwork of a cheetah for their online auction. Wow. And help raise money for their cause and everything. And all of the proceeds from the auction went to them in helping the cheetahs.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
It was awesome.
That's impressive.
Thank you.
If you had a chance to go back and do something again when it comes to the business, what would it be?
I think maybe finding the name and the brand like Foxtrot Artistry earlier on instead of Go With Art. But I think that I wouldn't really change it, because a part of finding it came from healing and finding myself more and coming back out of that dark space that I was in. And so it's just all about the journey and healing. And
yeah, that makes sense. Like I remember one time I was asked, if you could go back in time and change something about your life, what would you do? But every negative thing that happened in my life caused a positive thing. A positive thing that was so important to me that I'm okay with the negative thing that caused it,
Yeah.
Like for instance, I got divorced. But so would I change not ever marrying that lady? Well, I have children, and I really love my children. So I guess I had to have gone through that to get to this point. And then I would have never come to Utah, which means I would never met my new wife, which means so it's just kind of every negative kind of tells a story. It makes you who you are. And so it's kind of sometimes hard, but if somebody were in that, like somebody was doing something like this and they're kind of stuck on where you were at that time, would you have any advice to help them get through that, picking the name or whatever?
I would say probably just journey back, if you can, back to the core of who you are. And kind of like meditating on that, who you were at your most favorite part in your life, what your interests were, what made you truly happy, and kind of go off of that. And
Okay.
because doing that and going back to who you truly are before people told you to be who you aren't, it will bring you to a point where you can be your most authentic self.
Wow. That's very profound. And even though coming from an artist, so it's going to sound more profound, I think this is a good lesson for anybody, right? It doesn't matter what business you're in. If you've gone through a part of your life that's hard, remember there was a time before that. Like there was a person that had passions and things like that. Yeah. Might be difficult, but I mean...
Yeah, the journey's worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. What's your top piece of advice for someone who's starting off on their own? Like if somebody is going out there wanting to do something art-wise, or they have just this entrepreneur spirit and they want to just get started, but they don't know how, what's a bit of advice for that person to make that first step?
I think looking around at either other artists or other entrepreneurs and seeing what they're doing, maybe if you can, asking them how they got started, or artists, like if you want to do art, then look at different styles of artwork and see which one really speaks out to you, and just try different things until there's something that you try that you end up really liking, where you're like, oh, I really like this, I'm gonna dive more into that and try and perfect it. Which with artwork you can never perfect anything because there's always something to learn.
It's never finished.
Yeah.
When you first started out, when you were you wanted to start the LLC, right? Was there an inspiration? I know some people it's daunting. It's really daunting to get started on something like that. Did you have something that inspired you, or something that kind of pushed you over that first, create the LLC, or was that all self-driven?
Mostly self-driven.
Wow.
And because I was like, thinking I need to do this because there's like some vendors or like grants like to apply for and stuff where you need to have an EIN. And so I'm like, well, in order to do that, then I need an EIN, which then I have to do this, and then it's just breaking it down and being like, okay, I need to get this done so then I can do all of this other stuff.
It's just like a dominoes. One starts, goes to the next one. Got it.
Yeah.
Now, looking ahead at your business, where do you see it in 5 years? What's some exciting things that you have mentally you're thinking out that you can't wait to get started?
So one of the things that I'm working on now that I started, where it's going to turn into like this huge, bigger project that's probably going to take the rest of my life, but it'll be fine, is a field guide series just of like all the species that I can get to on each continent. And so the first one that I'm working on right now is North American Canadee. And
Interesting.
Canadee is the family name for all of the canines.
Okay.
yeah, my first field guide will have like all the wolves, coyotes, foxes, and everything that you can find from the bottom of Central America all the way up to the top of North America. And
Wow. Are you going to travel for this?
I want to, just so I can get videos and everything of, you know, everything, and kind of make a trailer for the field guide. But yeah, I'm halfway through this one, and then I'll start working on the next field guide after I get this one published, which I think I'll be able to publish this one in October.
In October, that's something to look forward to.
Yeah, and then another thing that I'm hoping for the future is having multiple plots of land and making them oases for wildlife. And so there'll be like a water source, shelter, and trees and native plants and everything, and getting those registered as certified wildlife habitats.
Wow.
Yeah.
You got a lot of ambition.
Thank you.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even know how to start that. So that's pretty awesome that there's people out there doing this.
Thank you.
Now, running a business can be consuming, right? So what's a daily habit that you do that gets you going, that keeps you focused, that gets you through the day, and maybe a habit that my listeners could like maybe adopt?
Besides coffee. No, just kidding.
Yeah, caffeine, 100%.
Yep. One thing that has helped me with doing things on a daily basis is just having a to-do list and breaking it down with, I know how long this takes me, I know how long that takes me, so I can get these things done in a day. And like that's what I've been doing with my field guide. And like there are days that it's hard. Like sometimes if you just need a day to just recuperate and get back on track the next day, then it's totally worth it because your body knows what you need. And
Coffee.
yep, exactly. Because like I'm a very visual person, probably why I'm an artist. But yeah, so having a list where I can see what to do helps.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you weren't doing this company, if you didn't have this company right now, what would you do? What would you be doing right now, and where would your skills be able to transfer to?
Probably like something else with wildlife. And I mean, I want to get into that anyway, especially with getting like a degree or like a certificate of something like that has to do with wildlife and stuff, so I can get more into it officially. Other than that, all of my research and passion for wildlife is just, it's been there for my entire life.
You probably find your way back, right?
Yeah.
Are you a big like Steve Irwin fan?
Oh yeah, he was like a father figure to me. I had to stay home from school when he passed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was pretty sudden. His son's doing stuff now. Mm-hmm. Do you follow him?
Mm-hmm. And Bindi too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I love them. They're awesome.
Do you get to the zoo a lot? Seems like you're a person that likes the zoo.
Yeah, and I love going to the aquarium and the zoo and the aviary here in Salt Lake. There's only a handful of the zoos and facilities like that in the U.S. that are AZA accredited. And so most of the other zoos that aren't, I would think twice about going to.
Really?
Yeah. And because all of the AZA accredited ones, they have to abide by specific regulations and rules to get accredited, which the zoos that are, their standards for animal well-being, science, conservation, and the species survival plan are all up to the highest they can be. And like a lot of the species in those facilities are a part of the species survival plan. And if it wasn't for the AZA accredited facilities, then those species would have gone extinct.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. I know through my lifetime I've seen animals go extinct. I've seen animals almost go extinct and come back.
Yeah.
So it's pretty amazing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Do you have any, like on my adventure here doing this podcast, do you have any suggestions on who I should interview next?
I think ER, he's the owner of Automotive Addiction.
Okay.
And he's really great to talk to. He's an amazing business person. It's so cool to see everything that he does with cars and everything. But yeah, and he's a great friend too.
Yeah, I've noticed some pretty cool cars in here.
Yeah.
We're currently at the Provo Mall. The company that we're in is
Automotive Addiction Museum.
Yeah, and so I'll put this all in there as well. But if I could talk to him, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
So self-advertisement for my audience. If somebody was interested in your art or wanted to get in touch with you, like what's the easiest way that they can get in contact with you? What's an easy way to purchase your art? And is there any like deals or anything you're doing right now? Like, feel free to just talk about your thing and do a self-promotion.
So the easiest way to find me is just like Foxtrot Artistry on Instagram mostly, or I do Facebook too. Substack is a fun one if you want to keep up with my trail camera sightings or the journals or the field guide projects. And I also post behind the scenes stuff on writing and illustrating the field guides, because I'm handwriting and illustrating the whole field guide.
Wow.
and because I want it to have that adventurer's journal feel, and so it looks like it has the old paper and a leather cover and things like that. And yeah.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you for your time. I really appreciate talking to me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Welcome back. What an incredible conversation with Kenzie and Foxtrot Artistry.
Yeah, it was great.
I enjoyed it. I really did.
Yeah, I really liked it. It was a different kind of conversation. In all of the I guess the last conversation with the Wandering Wizard, I thought to myself, how do you make money selling spells? But she figured it out, right?
Yeah.
And this one, I'm like, how do you make money being an artist? Well, she figured it out.
She figured it out too. After listening, I mean, there was a lot that like made me think more about like where your passion comes from. Because I don't know if I would look at like foxes and coyotes and like things like that and be like drawn to them.
Mm-hmm.
I think foxes are beautiful. And I only ever thought bad about coyotes, but I guess coyotes have a different beautiful side that I guess I've never thought about.
Well, you have your own passions, right? What are you passionate about?
What am I passionate about?
Yeah.
Life.
Life.
And making other people happy.
Yeah, and drinking before a podcast. Just kidding.
Why would you ruin that? Now you have to cut it out. I have a lot of passions. Like, I like making people happy. My passion is service. I love serving others. And a lot of things, I don't care if I get things in return. Like, simple things. Like, my biggest thing is when people ask me, like, what do you want? What can I get you? And I always think, I don't want anything. What can I do for you? Because I love to serve.
Right. And a lot of people don't like to do that. So them thinking about that is like you thinking about coyotes.
Yeah.
It's like, ew, why do I want to help anyone?
I know, but it comes down to where your love and passion is.
Yeah. Passion.
What's your passion?
What's my passion? Well, my passion's changed a lot, but currently I think my passion is helping people be better people. This is why I do a lot of volunteer work, and this is why I go to companies and help them out. And this is when I was doing management, back when I was a director. I spent a lot of time getting people to a management status, teaching people how to be a manager, teaching them how to be a director, like getting them up to the next level in their career. This is why I did that scouting program for so long. I just like getting people and helping them become better people. This is why I volunteered all that time to help people with their budgets and stuff. And now I'm thinking about getting a CPA for that. But I think that's my passion.
It's a good passion. I think that you've changed me in a lot of ways with your passion. I think I'm a different person than I was when we first met.
Yeah?
Not the same person. I've done a lot of self-healing and learning how to be better.
Yeah.
And how to, love differently than I think that I loved in my past relationships. But
that's good to know.
It is. There was a lot of things with Kenzie that stuck out to me. There was a lot. And I do have to agree with her. So for over 20 years, I lived in Podunk Town, Utah. Small town, Emery County. And I loved the one thing that I did love is that the desert was 5 minutes or the mountains were 5 minutes. And it was awesome that you could just drive either direction. And I love that she brought that up because I feel the same way about living in Utah. I love that I can drive 5 minutes and I am in a beautiful, quiet spot. I love that. That's one thing that I love about Utah. But I mean, there's other places.
Go to the beach. Let's go to California.
Yeah, but I can drive 10 hours to the beach and love the sand and like that. Or I can drive 5 miles to different beauty.
No, I'm saying if we relocate, we can live in California and we could be 5 minutes from the beach.
That would be awesome.
I know.
But do I want to give up my mountains or for sand? It's kind of a toss-up.
Okay. Well, now I know where you
to think
stand,
about.
So I'll come visit you every once in a while, I guess.
There was lots. What are your thoughts about like living close to the mountains? How do you feel about that?
Well, like I said when I was talking to her, I forget sometimes how crazy cool Utah looks. And every once in a while, like when I'm driving through Springville or something, I'll see all those mountains right there and it will just hit me and I'll be like, oh my gosh, I'm living in a picture, right? Like a picture that looks completely surreal. And I know we've lived here for so long that we take granted for that. We take granted for the mountains and whatnot. I remember I was in California for a user conference and I walked into a shop and there was a lady inside the shop and she was sitting right in front of a window, like facing the window. And I looked out the window and you could see the beach and the sun was setting. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. And she's like, what? And I was like, this beach, look at the sunset and everything. You see this every single day? And she was like, oh, yeah, I guess. And so I was like, man, when I get back to Utah, I better like start like looking at the mountains and like liking it. And so I've been better at like looking at that stuff. And yeah, the mountains are beautiful. We don't go very often. We don't go there.
We don't. But I like how it doesn't matter which way you look. And you can look to the east or you can look to the west and every scenery is different. Like there's not a mountain setting anywhere in a full circle you can turn that is the same.
Yeah.
But really, I mean, I can look out one window of our house and see something, and I can look on the other side and see something completely different.
So are you tying this into Kenzie's art?
Yes.
Like you weren't thinking about how everything is arty?
I do think it's arty.
Until
art?
Arty?
Like,
art like?
I don't
something?
know if arty's a word.
I don't think it is, but we just coined it.
But I'm thinking you take that for granted.
Yeah.
But I do like how she said that when she paints animals, foxes and coyotes, and she puts those into paintings, she doesn't just leave them on a canvas. She paints a beautiful scenery behind them.
Mm-hmm.
And that is something that like is drawn, because even if you see these beautiful animals, but a lot of people are drawn to like more of a picture.
Yeah. The nature aspect
The
of it.
nature of it. Like
Okay.
where they're from. Like where you find like the animals that she is drawn to.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I think I need to experience more art so I can get that kind of passion. But I could totally see how some people are like, she was talking about how calming it is to look at the nature scene. You know, maybe we need some more art in our house. Maybe we can buy some of our art and put it in here.
That would be awesome.
Right?
To have a big scenery of art and be able to be like, I see the beauty in that.
Yeah.
But I think it would take us looking at it 3 or 4 times to like really be drawn in and understand the beauty of it, of what Kenzie sees in one time.
Yeah.
Like she could go out and paint the mountains to the east, and she's so drawn to that. But I feel like that her painting it and us looking at it, it would take like sitting and looking at it more than once.
Yeah.
To feel what she feels.
All right, let's go see her gallery.
Okay,
We'll
we can do
figure
that.
out when the next time she's displaying that stuff.
I do like a couple of different things, and then we'll get on to the MBA thing. A couple of different other things is I did like how you can buy her art and the different things that she prints it on, but she only uses certain things to print it on.
Right. It's all environment friendly stuff.
Yes.
Like she does a lot of recycled goods and things like that.
Yeah. So that's cool. Maybe I want a new phone case with Kenzie's art on it.
Yeah, you have to get a recycled case.
Because that would be really cool.
You'll need a recycled case.
I know, but they come like that. I think you can order the cases.
Okay.
And they come with like the printing on them.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'd be super cool. And people will be like, where'd you get that? And I'm like, hey, why don't you go over to the mall? Kenzie Miller's over there.
Yeah.
And she does amazing work.
Mm-hmm.
And she's very passionate about what she does. So, I mean, that's a selling point, because you know,
right.
You get things and you can do that.
So you like the passion, you like the art?
I do like art.
Do you?
I do.
Why don't we have any art in this house?
Oh, you know, because you're basic white people that
What's that supposed to mean?
we don't have a lot of art.
It's Pride Month. Be nice.
What are you talking about?
I have no idea.
I just said basic white. That's how I describe myself sometimes. Depending on what people talk about, I'm like, I'm just your basic white girl.
I don't think so, but okay.
But yeah, I mean, that's my take. I like how Kenzie has a passion for things, and you can feel it.
Yeah.
And this is another one of those places. By dang, I'm going to get to the mall one of these days and meet these amazing people that you've met, because I've got to step out of my comfort zone and go shopping in the middle of the week.
You might do the next interview, so
Yeah,
that's
we'll
going to be
see.
exciting. We can flip this around. Okay, so those are kind of the things you like, right? Like, you also like nice things. You like when people are nice. Now, to be honest, Kenzie was super nice to talk to. I think I sounded really good in that interview. Like, I think I'm starting to get this. I was trying to get this
About
down,
time.
this interviewing things. What the hell is that supposed to mean?
6 interviews in,
Yeah.
and you finally are. I think you're comfortable. I think the more interviews you do, the more comfortable you're going to get.
I'm getting there, and I think this format's getting better too. You and I talking, and and now you're starting to promote, and we're starting to get onto TikTok, and we're on getting on different platforms. I got the link tree almost set up, so that way we can just give that to people, and we'll link everything that we have, and the website's coming along. So we're getting better at getting into this. So I don't know. Maybe by episode 10, we'll actually sound like a real podcast. Who knows?
We're getting there.
So, the building of the Foxtrot Artistry really brings up a couple things that I was thinking about in the business world of stuff, side of things. Her business, as you'll notice, isn't just about selling art. It's an entire operation where she's selling a deep conviction. So you know how, like, for instance, I've been talking about a brand, and a brand is really important. And a couple episodes ago, we talked about how important a brand is. You represent your brand, and that brand is the thing that we sell. Well, in this episode, I'm going to upgrade that to the next level. So my MBA theme for this day, for this podcast, is building a purpose-driven brand and cultivating a sustainable ecosystem.
What does the sustainable brand mean? Like, what does that mean?
Okay, I'm glad you asked, because that was kind of a big thing. But you know what a brand is, right?
Yes.
So I'm adding to that, building a purpose-driven brand.
Okay.
Okay, so you know what a purpose is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you can see with Kenzie, she's not just selling art, right? And she's not just selling a service. Hers, she's like connecting with people, and she's connecting people using a powerful, I'm putting in quotes in the air here, why. What she's doing is she's providing a why to people. Why do I care about this? Mm-hmm. Why am I doing this? Why should you care, right?
Yes.
And so that goes way far beyond just putting acrylics on canvas or making a mural or whatever. And a lot of companies will do this with a mission statement. Have you ever heard of a mission statement with a company?
It's basically what brands your company.
Yeah, and so you've had a company in the past where you've had a mission statement, right?
Mm-hmm. Every company has a mission statement.
Well, good ones do.
Yeah.
And good companies have good mission statements.
Yeah.
But what a mission statement does is it tells the employees, it tells the customers, it tells clientele, it tells suppliers, it tells everyone why you exist, right? Like in my old company before the acquisition, we had a mission statement, and it was we lift everyone from customers to suppliers in the procurement world. And what we did was we had a little, I don't know if you remember this picture, but it was like a picture of a folded like paper boat, because we were a paper invoice company, paperless invoicing company. And it was on a wave, and the wave was lifting it up.
Yeah, I remember.
And there's a bunch of little people on it. So our mission was that we're going to lift everyone. We're going to make everybody, like, we're going to make their lives better, easier. We're going to lift people. And we had the little image on our mouse pads. We had it on the walls. We had it on our business cards. We had it on everything, because it gave a mission. Like, this is what our company does. And what that does is it helps with, like, if you're on a meeting and you're not talking about lifting people, this is a wasted meeting. Let's get off this meeting. That's not our mission. Our mission is to do this.
Yeah.
And so with her, she brought one up. Hers was protect wildlife starts with us. Protecting wildlife starts with us.
Yes.
So if you break that down, right, her mission is that we need to protect wildlife, right? And so if you look at everything that she's doing, even from her name change, she went from the Go Paint to the Foxtrot Artistries. Even with that change, she mentions the reason she changed that was because of a personal healing she had to do. She had to find her way back. She was lost at a certain point.
Well, she also brought up how when they lived in Colorado and how they had a horse pasture, and how much she fell in love with foxes because they were always there.
Right.
Like, there was always foxes
But
there.
you can see, like, she's selling that.
Yeah. That's what she's...
Right.
And that's
it's not
what she's
just
passionate.
art. Yeah. It's not just art. It's not just bookmarks and pictures on shirts. You know, she's selling a mission, right? And so her core principle, the thing that she believes in, the thing that she, deep down inside, is wildlife prevention or wildlife conservation, right? Wildlife prevention. What is that? Preventing wildlife? No, she's the opposite. Wildlife conservation. Like, and it's just not a marketing slogan. It's a fundamental for her. Like, she donates 10% of everything she makes And that's a huge strategic differential for her than other companies.
Yeah, but that's something that she started. So it wasn't like she sold a few paintings and then decided to take 10%. It's something that she put into her business model is 10% of whatever I make automatically goes to the wildlife.
Right. And so she's selling that. That's her purpose-driven brand, right?
Yes.
Like she's selling doing good for wildlife. And that right there itself, at being a brand, and last episode we talked about niches, this is going to attract people that share those common values, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's going to cause them to have a much better bond with her art if they have that same core principle. There's a billion artists out there, right? But if you have an artist and their whole thing is about wildlife conservation, and you're a wildlife conservation person, you found your artist. And you know how that is. We've had hairstylists, we've had dentists, we've had all kinds of people that when they share our core value, that's the guy we're going to use forever, right? Or the girl we're going to use forever.
We brought that up before. Like, we go to people not just because they're a small business or something, but because of their passion for life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the people that we're drawn to.
Right. And that's what I'm trying to say is, like, you can manufacture that.
Yeah.
Like, instead of just selling a widget or whatever, if you make your passion into what you're selling, that is your purpose-driven brand.
Yes.
Her extreme commitment to using recycled and environmental friendly materials in all of her products, whether it's the shirts or the bookmarks or whatever, this is the choice that aligns perfectly with her mission statement. Protect wildlife starts with us. And it shows that she's not just talking the talk, She's genuinely living this value in her business operation. And that's going to attract people. Right. And her customers, our potential customers, are going to feel that.
Yeah.
And this is one thing that I'm really impressed with her, especially being so young, is that she just has this, it doesn't really matter what everybody wants. It doesn't really matter what the status quo is. It really doesn't matter what the neighbors are doing. I have a very specific life passion, and I'm going to do that. If people are on board with me, awesome.
Yeah.
As you always say, you're eating hot dogs with me, or you're eating hot dogs against me.
There you go.
No, just kidding. And that funny story she talked about getting the posters of...
Yeah, and she's like, I'm a one person with my LLC business. Do I be like, do I hang those posters so that I'm the only one that sees them? Like,
yeah.
How does that work?
So whenever she needs to figure out what workman comp is for a company, she can go read it.
Yes.
But that shows that she's building an infrastructure. She said she's putting it up, even though she's only the only person in the company, right? But she's serious about having a scalable, stable business. And so she'll do those she'll follow those rules regardless if they're silly or not. But she's laying groundwork for something that's bigger than just a hobby. She's not just a painter. She builds an entire ecosystem around her art. And her purpose, which we just talked about, isn't just about charity. It acts as like a magnet to customers and potential customers that are wanting to do something similar to what she wants to do. A lot of the vendors that she works with are going to be wildlife conservation people, right? And so when she makes a mural and companies are looking for that specifically because of that mission and not her art, then she causes this win-win with her and her clientele. And what's going to happen is she's going to have this ecosystem of companies that work together doing the same kind of passion. It's going to cause this community that's all driving in the same direction. And her powerful, ultimate vision of buying land and creating a wildlife oasis, she said, I think that's what she called it. And habitats or whatever. It's not just a business goal. It's like a grand accumulation for purpose.
Well, that's her purpose, though. I mean, that's how she feels.
Right.
Here's what I can picture. You're talking about her building land and having the wildlife around her. I can picture her building a house in the middle of like 5 acres.
Mm-hmm.
And she just has water sitting out and she has food sitting out. And the other thing that she talked about, and this was interesting that I forgot to bring up, is her trail cams that she has sitting up around places
I
in the
forgot
mountains.
about that.
Because trail cams are cool because they catch everything.
Yeah.
So I can picture her having that, living on 5 acres with a house in the middle and everything around, and her trail cams, and see what she brings in. Because a lot of times, like foxes, coyotes, wolves, like things like that come out at night, and you're not going to see those as much in the day. So that's how I can picture what Kenzie's life would look like in the near future, maybe.
Yeah, and she's gonna have so much more like decision-making powers if it's her own land.
Because it's her own stuff.
Right? So she's gonna have this trajectory, this future trajectory of this larger ecosystem. And it's like basically, and kind of what it sounds like to me, and this is the artsy in me, I guess. It's like she's planting seeds for her future forest of this idea, right?
Yeah.
I'm all choked up from that.
But I can also picture it as, I don't know if you've seen like those little video clips where you get comfortable with animals, or animals get so comfortable with you that you've made friends with them.
Like a Disney princess?
Maybe she's a Disney princess where she can go out and hand feed the animals. But like if something happens to the mom or something and she finds a baby fox and she raises that, I can see her doing that.
Yeah.
Because that's how much she loves like the wildlife and things. Make a fox a pet. I could see her doing that.
Yeah, and get rabies. Just kidding.
Well, no, but I mean, you could take care of it just like, I mean, I've seen videos and things of people that raise foxes and
I was
raise them like dogs.
I was kidding. Yeah, if once you meet her,
I'm so excited.
you're gonna see this. Like, this is what she lives and breathes.
Kenzie, I'm coming to the mall. I promise. I'm gonna come see you.
So I'm gonna do a takeaway for the audience. I think
Okay.
I liked doing that last time. We didn't get much feedback, but I don't really care. I'm just gonna give a feedback each of these based off of my theme, my MBA theme.
Okay.
So for the audience, whether you're just starting out or running a business currently, ask yourself, what's your true purpose? What's your purpose beyond just making a profit? You know, how can you bake that purpose into every decision that you make? Like your product, every service, every partnership you do, all the meetings you do, all that stuff like I was talking about. And what kind of ecosystem can you envision and build when you have that core mission in view, right? When you're focused on that core mission. Because as Foxtrot Artistry so beautifully shows, when you align your business with a powerful mission, you're not just selling, you're creating something truly amazing that really impacts people, both financially and non-financially. And that's the end of my NBA spiel.
I just have a couple more things to share. I have met three out of the 6 that we've done. Of course, Paul and Tina. And we went and met Robert.
Mm-hmm.
He was a very nice guy. And so,
King Kebab, you've met them.
Oh, and King Kebab. So 4 out of the 6. And so I've done those. Now I'm going to get to the mall. I'm going to go talk about spells. I'm going to go talk about art. I'm going to get there.
You can talk about to the retro store.
I'm going to come out of my comfort zone in the middle of the week and go out in public and do that.
I'll go with you. I know you're nervous and scared because you're so introverted. I'm just kidding.
Not introverted. But yeah. So
next up.
Who's next?
Well, first of all, like I said before, hopefully by next week we should have a link tree up. We should have a website going. We should be more official. Becky's doing a lot more promotional stuff, so you'll see her face probably pop up on TikTok and Instagram and all these other places. Right now, currently, you can find the podcast on Spotify, which feeds out to all kinds of other different platforms. And I also put this on YouTube, but I'm fighting with Apple to get it on Apple.
We will get on Apple.
I'm fighting them to get it on there. It's just such a pain in the butt to get on there. But hopefully we'll have that done, so it'll be much cleaner on that side. I think the questions are pretty good. I think the format is pretty solid at this point. We always encourage people to give us positive or negative feedback. Let us know.
I want to know your thoughts.
Yeah. It helps us know it helps us to know what to change in the future, gives us ideas, because we don't listen to this podcast. So, or I guess I do during the editing. I got to listen to all this again.
I listen to it.
Yeah.
In my dreams.
In your dreams? What a great dream.
It's a great
Listen
dream.
to me talk about MBA stuff? That sounds horrible. And anyway, so coming up, next episode, I talked to a retro, well, what do you call it? It's a retro media store. So they do old video games like the Super Nintendo and the Nintendo and N64, but they do a lot of like VHS tapes, cassette tapes.
You could find anything in VHS and DVD in there.
Yeah,
I swear.
They got a crap ton. And so I talked to him. Now, he talked for a long time, so I might split that into a two-parter.
So we might have a two-parter coming.
So I might have a two-parter talking to him. Super awesome guy. He's actually going to start a podcast talking about the nostalgia of retro things, and I think I'm going to be on that podcast. Also, I was on a podcast. I don't know if I should promote that one, but I was on a podcast a couple weeks ago, and maybe I'll put the details in that if you want to hear about me talk about my past, which is boring. But
well, now you're famous because you were on a podcast.
You know it.
Now you're just famous, and I'm just.
Oh yeah, with our 5 views, we're super famous.
No, you're famous because you were on a podcast, not because you're making a podcast. Because you were on a podcast.
I'll be on 2 podcasts. Yeah.
You're famous.
I'll just do that all the time.
Okay.
You get other people's podcasts. That's it. So stay tuned for next week. We'll talk about that, and I will have a new NBA theme, and Becky will have a new stuff that she's noticed.
And we're out.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Fuckity fuck.